we're making a big sieve so that we can put soil and the gravel on to easily separate them and be able to reuse the gravel and also reuse the soil. Basically we want both but not together. So we bought this the other day from Brico, just a plastic mesh. Now we're making the frame using some old offcuts of wood. Hopefully it'll be stable enough and it'll work really well. This is not a DIY channel though, in case that wasn't clear already. Okay, bit of glue, a few screws. Weed. There are several reasons why we want to grow our own vegetables and fruit. One is cost. There are lots of markets in France where you can buy great fruit and vegetables, really good quality, very seasonal. It's lovely, it's a great resource, but it is all quite expensive, and yeah, the cost of living in France isn't super cheap. So if we can grow some of our own stuff to reduce that, then that's really good. And we have two boys that absolutely love their food, especially fruit. So if we can grow some berries to keep them happy, that will be very good. You know, it's a cliche that stuff tastes better when you've grown it, but certainly if you've put in all that effort, the reward is really nice, and it is more satisfying, and you make more effort with what you cook.
So this is all the soil that we dug up when we were doing the landscaping. Lots of little stones. I mean, some of them aren't too bad, but there are some biggies. There are some weeds. But hopefully over time, either the little stones will go to the bottom, or some will rise to the top. You just pick them out.
This is a great location for growing fruit and vegetables because we're south facing, so we get so much sun. It's brilliant. We just need to get some big water butts hooked up to the guttering on the barn for irrigation. Thank you.
Is this your addition to Gardener's World?
Yeah, it is. The barn itself provides quite a lot of shelter, so that's why we're going to have fruit over there. It's a really lovely shelter spot. Hopefully stuff should do nicely. I'm thinking maybe as well, if we've got the time, to get some tomatoes in these other gaps. But we'll see how we get on. My parents have always grown vegetables, so it's something that I grew up with them growing just in the garden. And to be honest, as a child, it's not something that I was overly interested in. I found it quite a chore picking vegetables, but I guess it's just part of my life naturally, and now I'm a bit older, I can see the benefits of it more, and definitely the vegetables always tasted delicious when they were fresh from the garden. even if they required a bit more effort than just going to the supermarket.
Great thing about this spade is that it's lightweight. It's got a little metal thing here so you can get under it. Yeah, it's pretty good for this kind of stuff. The garden, if we can establish that now first, especially the vegetable garden, that's going to kind of feed us for so many years. So getting that done first is kind of the priority for me. I wouldn't call myself a prepper, nowhere near, but I like the idea of preparedness, just kind of being prepared that you are going to be in some ways self-sufficient, or you are able to provide your family with food if suddenly the supermarkets are empty. So that's a factor.
It's really nice having something to do that we can do with the children. Even though they're very young and they're not always helpful, they can be around in the garden. It's perfectly safe for them. They feel involved and they really enjoy it. Equally, on days like today when we don't have them, it's really nice to do something that's just quite calm. You don't have to overly think. It's meditative. It really clears your head. You've just got the birds singing, the sun shining. I love it. I find it really calming. And when you've got the stress of renovating and living in a foreign country and all the complications of life, having something simple and straightforward is nice to do. Our son thought it was absolutely hilarious that Daddy was going to collect a van full of horse poo the other day, and we had to act out the whole scene with the farmer, the horse, the tractor and the trailer, and exactly what went on. Brooke found this tool under the barn. You can see from the stick how old it presumably is. I imagine it's for seed drills, but it works pretty well for poo bashing. Which bed are we on? Number 4? That's good.
Just raking out the horse poo. It's not fresh. Over the beds. Just trying to work out if we have enough for the 5. But we can obviously go back and maybe get more or go somewhere else, because I think she was a little bit low. So I really had to dig it up.
There you go.
So we're thinking of actually posting a listing asking people for their green waste that we can shred, especially if it's kind of woody rather than grass. Obviously we've got plenty of that, and then we can shred that, mix it in and have a really mass amount of compost, And so we hopefully will never buy any. That's the plan.
We've got all the manure on the beds now and topped up around the garlic as well. We're going to finish it off with a layer of compost, but first, time for a cup of tea. You exploring? This is the finished sieve. We've double sandwiched it in between the wood. Brooke tested it out and it's doing a great job so far. So fingers crossed, that should make our lives much easier and we'll be able to get rid of some of the piles, get sowing some grass seed, get laying down the gravel.
So I'm going to shovel all the dirt, all the rocks and all the rubbish onto here, and hopefully the soil and little stones will come through, which is fine, and any of the big stuff we'll put in the wheelbarrow and take it round the corner, and eventually we'll take it to the déchetterie, and if there's any big stones we'll keep them. So let's have a little go. This has got quite a lot of soil in this one, isn't it? Which is good. And it's not too wet. No, not too wet. So once, we don't want to load it up. That's probably enough, because Daddy won't be able to do it, will he? Because it'll be too heavy. So once we've got it like this, just going to shake it. And the soil will go through, and then it's just the rocks, isn't it? Just the rocks. And then the rocks are going to go in here, Rafe. And good. And then keep doing that, and then you have a lump of soil which we can just rake out. Are they in your sandpit? Have a look. The gloves are wet. Should I take them off? They're a little bit wet, but it's okay. Can you do it with the gloves, or you want it without the gloves? Take them off. That'll probably do again. Right, ready? Shake it out. You're gonna help me. It's like sieving for gold, isn't it? But in this, it's just sieving for rocks. Okay? Just a tiny bit more left here, and it's nice and clear, ready for the grass seed. As we said, we're going to recreate a structure here, but we just need to plan it a little bit more. We're not going to rush and just get it up. So we're going to plan this with the barn and try and make it a lot more. You could bring electricity around here now, all sorts of things, water. So we really want to plan this properly. So I really do believe in supporting creators, whether that be, doing it as a hobby or a career, and there are many ways in which you can do that. However, I don't think YouTube utilises it very well compared to a streaming platform where Twitch, where it's integrated, you can subscribe and you do a rolling donation. I think moving forward, what we're going to do is we have the domain Living in the Loire, and we are going to put everything on there. So you can go and access it for completely free. It will just be a website with information about us, information about places in the Loire region as it develops. But we'll also link to what we make, and that's the intention of being here, is that we work from home, making and doing. So in the future, if you ever want to support us, that's a great way to do it. Buying my pottery or buying any of Rebecca's crafts, that will all be listed on there within the next year or so. So that's probably where we're going with it. So we'll probably be closing down the Patreon because it's a little bit difficult to energize myself to put out content, additional content on there as well, because as much as we love our two patrons, it's going forward, I don't think it's a sustainable way for us to do it, and it's a little bit confusing for everyone that is unsure what it really means. Anyway, that's it for this week. We should have another vlog coming very soon, so see you then. Oh.